First of all, Mitched and last. What do I say? I think me and Aloe gotta have a little powwow here. Let's enter that sweat tent. Let's burn that incense and let's have a little bit of a powwow here. Finally, a little powwow. Okay, a little bit of a powwow. No, I gotta get something straight with you, pal. I wasn't begging you to lay off me. No, nothing like that. It's kind of your words. Now, let's just get something straight. I'm just saying that there's bigger fish to fry. Now, look, we've known each other for 7.5 years. Long time. You admitted many times yourself that I was somebody to contend with. How many times I heard I gotta give Frank credit because, he hangs in there and he, puts out the punches and doesn't run away and all that. I'm not going to paraphrase. It's so many words I've heard you say about me. Now, first of all, I'm going to say one thing. I don't recall I've ever actually threatened you. Let's keep that in mind. But I know some other vloggers that have actually had threats. I guess that's my point. To go after the bigger fish. I think that's all I've been saying. Go after the bigger fish on here. It's been pretty played out 7.5 years. Hello de Vinta. Hello de Vinta. Long, long, long time. Very long time. You must mitch entlassen. And you should. Because bigger fish to fry. And you must admit that there are. Now, how many years, how many efforts? Long time. Long time. It's getting pretty old. We're both getting older. But we got newbies coming in on here that have presented their ugly heads. And these are the people, along with the tried and true people, such as Ricky and people of that nature, are the ones, all I'm saying, that need to be attended to. You're old hat to me, Aloe. 7.5 years dealing with you and your crew. I'm still here. And you said on a recent broadcast, forget about going after Frank on YouTube. Because it ain't gonna happen. Well, you're right, yeah. So what's really the next logical step? Now, you realize you're a nameless, faceless troll. So you don't really carry a lot of credentials on here. And you want everybody to do your dirty work. You do. Historically, that's what you do. And I'm not sure where it's ever gotten you anywhere. Maybe with the JW, did a little damage control with JW. I'm just a little guppy. That's all I've been saying. I'm just a little guppy in a big sea. And it's gotten old even for me. I mean, really old. Now, your channels are constantly being taken off and you gotta make new channels all the time. And what does that tell you? That you have a lot of opposition on here that you don't want to acknowledge. Don't forget, I have a new channel coming up. You must understand. Please subscribe to my new channel. We have to have a backup channel. Why do you always gotta have a backup channel? Because you're always losing the channels you do have because you think you're the hero on here, but there's so much opposition toward you. All right, now we're not gonna go on the attack of you on my channel here. We're gonna have a friendly little powwow here. Okay, come on, enter the sweat tank. And just in your case, please don't take off your clothes. At least wear a pair of shorts. Thank you very much. You can wear your watch. But let's enter this little Native American powwow tent and let's have a little rap here, you and I. Just you and I, nobody else listening here. You take pride in trying to attack people on here. Now, I don't know your background psychology. It can't be too good, but, I'm not going to pretend that I know your background, whether you're married or really married or children or whatever it might be. That's kind of irrelevant at this point. You can talk about that. But let's just get to the brass facts of all this. You like to use me as a target and encourage other people to do so, right? He makes it up as he goes. Yeah, he does. I'm just saying that I don't believe I've ever threatened you. And I realize you're just looking for topic matter and drama on here. Well, there's plenty, Mr. DeVinta. There's plenty out there, and you know it. There's plenty. That's my point. Now, I never said that I'm begging you to back off me. That's unfortunately your words. Okay, that's your wording, not mine. I'm just saying that we have some real characters out there, Aloe, and you know who these characters are. That's all I'm saying. Now, your butt hurt with me because I've always had great comebacks for 7.5 years on here. That's quite a feat on here if you think about it, because channels have come and they've gone. I know we've been hearing the same, it seems the viewers are saying too, we've been hearing the same crap from you guys for years. And there's never been harmony in your so-called hate group. Almost every member of that group has been in opposition of the other. Numerous times we've witnessed it, we've heard it. Now the thing is, Aloe, you're giving support to the wrong people. Now some of your own crew such as Roberto. I'm not sure why nobody's going after Roberto. I know nobody likes Roberto. Roberto has even said he wanted to harm my woman physically. He's called her a call girl. You don't think that's wrong? But yet, I think a sneeze is going to come up here. Pardon me. Yeah, you want to go under the attack of people that you say are doing wrong on here. You don't think that's wrong? Or a member of your own crew who's supposed to be a representative of your crew talking about harming innocent women? Come on, gotta be better than that. Well, maybe not. How could you be under the attack of people when you yourself have done and encouraged others besides your own little entourage? Done horrible things on here, but yet you're attacking a number of people on here, but yet you're playing this role as if, we're the good guy police on here. We're the posse attacking people that are doing wrong, finding fault with people. The newest, of course, is Jasper. All right, yeah, those are the big fish that I've been talking about. I'm the guppy. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, Jasper. Yeah, he is doing wrong. He's a very bad representative of a foreigner. I will agree with you 100% if we have to agree on one thing. Ricky, of course. Hell yeah. Number one is what I'm saying. Now, you're not going to get anywhere with me. There's nothing you haven't said about me hasn't been said before. You realize you can't go after me on YouTube in any form or way because it's never worked. You admit it yourself in a recent broadcast. Now, you want to go after certain people here because you think they're doing wrong, but yet you're the one that says, yeah, go after their families, go where it hurts, where it's really personal to them. Is that rational thinking? Okay, it's coming from you, so I mean, oxymoron, whatever. Go after people where it hurts the most. Okay, let's get something straight here. We're going to go through a couple of things here. We're having a good little rap session here. Aloe has entered my sweat tank. We're having a little powwow here. Okay, we got the dream catchers all around us. Okay, Aloe's in his underwear because he's not going to get naked around me, that's for sure. Okay, we're in that sweat tank. Let all the toxins come out of our skin. Okay, let's have this little powwow. Let's have this little talk, Aloe. Clear the air once and for all, okay? So let's clear the air. You've made me a target for years, but you ever really ask yourself why? Well, I know the answer to that. My idea of that is that I've stood up to you all these years and I never backed down. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't go under the attack of you all the time. No, you attacked me. And if anything, I'm pretty good at coming with comebacks or throwing facts and things in your face that maybe you don't like to hear because you expect everybody to bow down to you. How dare anybody talk about the great Aloe de Winter? Why are you great? Why do you think you're great? I mean, because you're a nameless, faceless troll? You know that there's half the people on here you would never face in real life. Only cowards hide behind their camera on a consistent basis. Little people, bless, somebody straight, either off the list. You or anybody else is going to take my house. Let's throw that off the list. Okay. And you're not going to hurt my feelings. 7.5 years. De Winter. Come on, 7.5 years. You think you're hurting my feelings by talking about me? This is old hat. My skin is a lot thicker than that. If I was that bothered by what people say about me, and if I committed any crimes, I would not be on YouTube. Let's make that abundantly clear. And see the logic of all this. Like other people have run away that were guilty, got off their channels, never to be seen again, or just went under, fictitious names that are still on, perhaps. I've never ran away from anybody on here. I'm here now. I'm addressing you, sir, and I always will. I'm not intimidated by you, and I never was, or else I'd be off YouTube. I'm not intimidated by anybody. But that's what makes you upset, because I'm one of the only people on here that you can't intimidate. Isn't that the fact, De Winter? Isn't that a fact? Seriously, Oh, boy. Du musst mich entlassen. And you know what that means. Now, we have some people out here that I would agree with you. I would absolutely side with you that I feel need to be going after. If you have to go after anybody, and you know who they are. All I was saying is don't waste your energy on me. I told you I'm that little guppy in the pond, and you got some sharks out there that you need to reckon with. If that's what your endeavor in life is to attack people all the time. You know who they are. That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking you or saying, "Oh, I'm afraid of you, Alan." I've never been afraid of you. I've never been intimidated by you. You're a ghost as far as I'm concerned. You're a nameless, faceless troll. I have no fear of you whatsoever. And not everybody's going to do your dirty work either. I think people only go so far. Why everybody wants to get down in front of a nameless, faceless troll and suck his dick, I don't understand it myself. It's an interesting, trying to think of the right word. Say it's interesting. Why? They're trying to impress the great Alo Divinta. And you're probably on the list of the most hated person on here, but yet it's real easy for you to say that this person and that person is the hated person in the community. Okay, come on. What crimes did I commit? Let's go over some of these things. Let's go over some of them. Oh, let's go all the way back to Nika. Okay, let's go to Nika. You know who Nika was? She was a chick that was paralyzed in her chair. Okay, I befriended her. Okay, that was it. And my visits to her was only one time that Gilda wasn't with me. She said, just to straighten out your information on that, because well, let's talk about it. Come on, just while we're here, we're having a powwow here. Let's talk about this. You always made Nika an issue, and then we'll go on to other things. Nika was somebody I tried to help out. I've taken her and her family out to dinner numerous times, or lunch. She also, surprisingly to me, was an acquaintance of the famous Big E, the big enabler. It was a surprise to me, big surprise. I had no idea that he actually knew her too. And guess what? Divinta? Shared the same story. Yeah. See, let's back up a little bit. See, there's a lot of people who put money into Nika. Let's save Nika. It's like the Ricky Save Barry campaign. It was the Let's Save Nika campaign. That poor Nika suffered at the hands of Frank B. Suffered what? And for your news, Commandant, I have never been alone with her, ever. In fact, Gilda accompanied me on several visits. Even on Valentine's Day, I was kind enough to buy her candy, and Gilda agreed on it. And a card, I treated Nika with nothing but respect. Her parents liked me. I even did a little documentary thing about her to help boost somebody to get campaigns for her to help her out. And that's where other people took over, such as the chick in Florida and so forth, and that's history. But then they had a campaign to help her. And what did she do with the money? She took her and her relatives over to Bohol, where the money was supposed to be spent on the medical needs and other important things. Then Nika took advantage of everybody. Now let's segue to Big E on this. To my surprise, Big E went through the same thing and actually knew her and met her. The same thing. Nika wanted Big E to take her to a hotel away from the parents. Ooh, similarity. Nika wanted me to take her to a hotel away from her parents. And one of her plans one time, let's get this all out. Let's just get this all out. Big E went through the same thing I did. Same thing. Nika was using men from the internet to make money for the family. Now, of course, they were very poor, and the dad died later on of some lung disease. But this was prior to her dad dying, actually. So let's get the facts out straight once and for all. Comrade, Nika had a great way of making money, and she was making money, unbeknownst to most people, and myself prior. She would talk to a lot of people on there, and they'd feel sorry for her because she was in a wheelchair, and they would send her money. Now, was Nika looking for a real relationship? Yes, she was. She's never really been with a man before. You could feel sorry for someone like her. In a wheelchair, never be able to walk again. I did feel sorry for her. Absolutely, I did. Mom liked me. Her dad liked me. I never harmed Nika, never exposed myself to Nika. That's all bullshit. And as I said, Nika was never alone. And if Gilda wasn't with me on visits, the mother or father was right there. She was, or the sister, was never left alone. Why? Because she couldn't be left alone. And if she had to use the CR, she needed somebody's help to take her downstairs to do it. I've never been alone with Nika, ever. Let's just get that straight, okay? Surprise, as I said, he went through the same thing. Went through the same thing. She tried to get sexually involved with Big E. Now, what happened beyond that point, whether Big E had anything to do with anything sexual with her, I can't answer that question. What I do know from Big E's story, and you can discuss this with him if you don't believe me, okay? Did Big E try to help her financially and so forth? Yes. Did I try to help her financially? Take her to dinner, maybe give a couple of bucks here and there? Yes, we both did. I think me and Big E at the time both had very good intentions for Nika. I mean, how could you not? I mean, I even did a video where I showed the living conditions inside and out, showed that tributary river in the back, which smelled like total urine. I tried to show the living conditions in order to convince the Florida gal who was having a party or something else that wanted to use that as a fundraising party. I was absolutely responsible for any fundings to come into Nika and to have her house fixed up. It was me that initiated, that's the word, that initiated this shit, okay? Which got the girl in Florida involved, okay? She raised some money for Nika. And in fact, Big E had mentioned that he had helped out. I forgot who was trying to take credit of building a CR, whether Big E built the CR. But Big E tried to be nice to her, took her out to a pool somewhere. I mean, you've seen the old videos on that, right? Okay. But Big E admitted, unless he's going to come on and lie now, but he said that online and he said it to me personally, that she wanted Big E and she wanted me to take her to a hotel to be alone, away from her mom. She had never had sex in her life, no fault of her own because of her condition. She's still human. She had her needs. You can't help feeling sorry for somebody in that position. My girlfriend is my own witness that I remember, and I've given this story before, I had tears coming out of my eyes when one day I was over there and she had to use the CR. Of course, I could not help her with that. I wasn't going to touch her, carry her downstairs to a soil basement, filthy basement where there's a bucket. Her sister did that. How she did that, I don't know. Must be pretty strong because as small as Nika is, she was heavy. Because I tried picking her up to put her into a taxi cab, and believe me, it almost broke my back. On that day, that fateful day, I remember I had tears coming out of my eyes because I had to see what Nika went through when her sister had to pick her up because she could not physically bring herself to go to the CR. That this sister had to bring her downstairs through a treacherous stairway that was breaking down that could have hurt either one of them. That's why the stairway was fixed later on by donations. And I had tears coming out of my eyes because I just couldn't see her having to live this way, and I couldn't see anybody have to be so dependent on somebody else. Because personally, I'd rather be dead. Personally, I'd rather be dead. I'd rather be dead. It was sad. I've only had good intent with Nika, and I showed it. It wasn't until these creeps got involved and say, hey, you want to get away with getting even with Frank? See, let me tell you, she felt she was scorned. She wanted to have a relationship, as she did with Big E. She wanted to have a relationship with me. And I didn't want to. I made it very clear to her that we are just friends. I remember how many times I was at this condo and I'm with Gilda, and the phone was just ringing off the hook every 15 to 20 minutes. Ringing, 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 ringing. For her wanting to talk. And I basically would say straight off, I said, look, I'm with my girlfriend, okay? When I have the time, call you back, that I'll call you. But the phone rang and rang and rang and rang, okay? And there's never been an incident where I've ever been alone with her. And the time that she actually managed to come over the condo that I was staying on, her mother was with her, and I've got a video to prove that. Never, ever, ever have been alone with her, ever. This is how easy stories can spread. Now, Alo de Vinta lives for shit like that, and so does his disciples. Now, if you have a problem with this story, you could, if Big E wants to have a little powwow too and actually talk about it, he can. But you probably heard that already in the past on his shows, that he admits that Some of the same shit that she tried to pull on me, he's trying to pull on him. The chick wanted to get laid, but it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen with Big E, and it wasn't going to happen with me. Bottom line, I would never do that. Never do that with a disabled person. I could turn around and say, hey, he tried to do something to me just because she's scorned because she didn't get her way. That's the story. That's the story on that. Let's move on with another thing so popular on here. Singing a Mushroom Man song. Boy, oh boy, was that out of whack. What a story that was made out of that. I'm not going to go into the whole history of my tenants, but it wasn't good, the history, okay? It wasn't good at all. In regards to their child, who was basically kind of a latchkey kid, very talkative, very much in need of some social structure. I mean, the parents would smoke pot and cigarettes in the house around the poor kid, okay? And if anybody was willing to talk to him, he was more than happy. Good kid. He's a good kid. And I'll say this to today, even to today. He is a good kid. I liked him. My brother liked him too. Always looking for somebody to talk to. It just so happened on this fateful day, I was doing a live show in regards to Fat Man. The story was that he exposed himself on camera and revealed something that wasn't very impressive. Okay. So there's a famous song. It's a child folklore song, whatever. The Muffin Man is what the actual song is. The Muffin Man. Have you seen the Muffin Man? Okay. Story was changed around to the Mushroom Man because it wasn't actually my terminology that defined the Fat Man's appendix to be very small to label it as a mushroom. That was actually taken out of context with me. That was mentioned by somebody else. But we went for it anyway. So we labeled it a tiny little mushroom. So there was a song, The Mushroom Man. And boy, oh boy, the to-do that was made about a fucking song. Which is still being talked about today. And saying that you're a child groomer because you sang a fucking song. Sang a fucking song. It makes you a child groomer, makes you a pedophile? Really? Is that the credentials, definition of somebody who's a pedophile or a child groomer? I sang a song, probably in bad taste, I would say. Bad taste. That was it. Bad taste. He happened to walk in, and he was actually having fun talking to people on there. As I said, he was screaming out for some kind of social acceptance. And I understood why. He was having fun talking to this guy and that guy while I was doing a live show. But when he had walked in, we were right in the middle of talking about the so-called Mushroom Man. And I sang the song, and he decided to sing it along with me. Not anywhere in that thing am I referring to anything about the guy's cock, this or that. There's nothing like that. There was reference to the mushroom and what it actually was. Yes, there was. Now, if anything, it just was poor taste. Poor taste. That's all it was. No grooming, no child handling, no pedophilia, nothing. It was just poor taste to continue the song while he was in the room. He was not invited. He came in, and it was not in a little closet room. It was in my brother's living room, and the sliding door was wide open, and that's why he knew I was doing a show. Walked by, oh, you're doing it live. Okay, here you go. That was it. The kid was having fun. And I was happy he was having fun because he doesn't have much fun in his life. A lot of times you're left home alone. It was horrible. He gained a lot of weight because he had a Santa Claus belly because all he could do was eat. They didn't really go much places, and he was just socially inept. He'd have to hear his parents' arguments all the time, smell of pot going through the house, cigarette smoke he was exposed to because they smoked pot, as I found out later on. But I knew they smoked cigarettes around the kid, but what can I really say? They weren't even supposed to smoke in my unit, but they did. They defied all the rules that a landlord would make to a tenant. They were not good tenants. They held back their rent when they found out. I just want to get this all out in the open. When they found out that my reason for coming down there was to work on the house with the intent to put it up for sale. That's when everything got shitty. They pulled back their rent from earlier than that time because they had the hint that I was going to sell the house. But they weren't really sure totally until I actually came there and started doing maintenance on the house. Now, look, I don't have to talk about this, but I want to get this out once and for all. That's it. I want to get this out once and for all. No, I was not a bad landlord. If they needed something, they got it. When they needed a new stove, I provided them with a new stove. Many times I asked them, do you want that bigger bedroom painted? Because I know the color on there is not exactly the best. Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay. I was invited to barbecues, birthday parties they had for the kids. There was never any friction with these people up until they decided not to pay their rent because they got hint I was going to sell the house. And they knew how hard it was to find a rental that would take the large family in. And the fact that, yes, they were African American, and that did play a part. I was obviously not prejudiced, and I allowed them to rent from me. When they had hard times with other people, and they knew in that community that they chose to live in, that it would be a hard sell to be able to rent. So they held back their rent in preparation, is what they did. Then when I asked them to pay their rent, they refused. All of a sudden, they just fucking turned. They didn't want to be thrown on the streets, and they weren't. Practically took an act of Congress to get them out. Well, an act of court where I actually did finally get permission from the judge to evict them. There was a lot of reasons. The damage they did to the unit, you would not believe. If you were a landlord, you'd be pissed off too. They defied me on everything. I never knew that they had dogs there. That was against the rules. You have to pay extra. I never knew they had to go to have the mother, the disabled mother lived there until later on. Of course, my brother was handling all this, and I was in the Philippines. I had no fucking clue what the hell was going on with that. They smoked in the house, which was against the rules. They did all that, and something illegal was going on there. And I'm not going to mention this on here at all. There was something illegal going on there too that I was not aware of until I once witnessed it myself when somebody came by their place and left with something. I'll leave it at that. I was unaware of almost anything that was going on, and I never even knew they had dogs. They wouldn't even clean up after the dog's mess. And when they'd go out somewhere, nobody was going to be home, they would ask my brother, would you watch the dogs and take them out? My brother went in there and found shit all over the floor. They never even cleaned it up. If you would have seen the carpeting in the two bedrooms, which was strewn with old shit and smelled like somebody's been pissing in there for 10 years. You can imagine how I felt as a landlord. You can imagine. About 8,000 throughout the whole place, about 8,000 came out of my pocket. 8,000 US dollars to fix up the damage they did to my place. That's why they never wanted my brother to enter the sea. When they claimed there were bed bugs, and there never was bed bugs in that place. It's just that they did not want my brother to enter that room to go check the so-called bed bug situation. There was no bed bugs. He just did not want anybody to go into the two bedrooms because it was in such a state of disaster that he did not want information to get out to me how bad that room was, because they knew my brother would tell me. They didn't even want to allow the real estate agents in the house. They didn't want to allow building inspectors to come to the house. They did not want anybody to come in that place because of the damage that they did. That's the story. And that's why they turned on me. And that's where YouTubers got involved. When I heard this story, they, hey, how could I help fuck Frank up? Of course, you had Fazio involved in there. You had an old workmate of mine, Kenneth B. Anderson, involved with there. You had other people involved with there. They were talking to my tenants on a regular basis, feeding them videos and everything they could. They made up stories that I was an aggressive landlord. The only aggression that ever happened there was one day when me and her husband, they're not even married really, kind of had it out outside. And I told him how I felt and how what he's doing to my place. I was tired of all the bullshit and all the accusations. That was it. That's when they said, Frank's aggressive. And they were calling police left and right when there was no reason to call police. I even called the police on him a couple of times. So if you want to get a story straight, enter my little powwow here and talk to me and get the story straight. Building up a reputation on me on YouTube that I did this and did that, when it's all untrue. But it makes good, PR. Makes a good story, right? You have no idea what even my brother went through with these tenants. He went to the hospital 2 times. His blood pressure was through the roof, which he couldn't afford to get his blood pressure. Even after this was all over, my brother went to the beach area where he's living now to walk his dog, And the gentleman from that place, they came up in a truck there, and I guess they have a fishing spot around there. They must live nearby. They actually threatened my brother, physically threatened my brother. So you all talk about this case and all the wrong that Frank supposedly did when you got it totally backwards. If I had a lawyer representing me at the time, it would be a whole different story. And they didn't win a case in the way you think they did from factual evidence. It was a default decision. Default. Because I wasn't there physically. I appeared on Zoom and I thought that was okay. But apparently it wasn't. You had to prearrange that. So whatever false allegations that they made against me, well, no show physically. Judgment was made, not based on evidence. I want to make that perfectly clear. Not based on a child and not based on any other evidence. In fact, there were 13 items that were thrown out of that case, by the way. And that one with the kid was thrown out, by the way, had no relevance at all. The court didn't buy it. However, during a trial, because there was considered default, they were able to get a lot of the allegations addressed or in their favor. And that's how it works. Opposite situation as it could have done for me. If I had a trial hearing and they didn't show up, the judgment would go to me in my favor. Bottom line, that's what happened with them. Nothing really to do with the kid, although it says parties' names and representing the children. Well, as a family, yes, because they made allegations that their kids were scared of me. Like I was going to be some kind of harm to their children. This is a family that wanted to make money and they saw an opportunity. I was going to sell the house and they were licking their chops. They were salivating. They were mad at me because I wanted them out because they didn't want to pay their rent. I made many demands and it became ugly because they knew they wouldn't be able to find a place very easily. So they had to go on the attack. All right, that's the story. I'm off of that one. That's it. That's the story on that. Whether they're ever going to collect on this, I don't see how. As far as there being a winner and a loser, there really isn't any. They can't go into my Social Security, bottom line, over. That's it. Maybe they got the, give accolades for, a judgment was won based on, again, default. They did not win by evidence. They did not win by facts. They won by default. That's a big difference. Okay. I'm just addressing a few things. Let's get back to DaVinta. Look. You are a faceless, nameless troll. That's what you are. And so are you, some of your buddies. You put the fear of God in some people. Nameless, faceless troll, and they're afraid of you. You don't even do your own dirty work. You're too much of a coward to meet anybody in person. Now, this is not a rank out section for Alla DaVinta. It's just a factual thing. To get some facts straight that there are bigger fish out there to fry. Alla's upset with me because no matter what he and his crew ever tried to do with me, they never succeeded. They like the little, the wolf that was trying to blow down the pig's house. We got to blow down the real pig house with the pig nose. Huffing and puffing, trying to blow down that house. But they couldn't blow down my house. And that pissed them off even more. Damn, Frank is a goddamn challenge. 7.5 years, we can't do shit. Can't break up his relationship. We can't take anything away from him. What do we do next? Got my point. I'm glad you did. I'm sorry I haven't been reading the comments on here. Allo never spent a penny on anyone. But once, Justice, yeah. Christina Applegate. Bruce Thompson said, if you had something to do with a woman, why would guys get involved? Sounds like too many guys involved with that woman. I don't know her. Bruce Thompson says, if you had an affair, again, that is your business, not ours. No, I never had an affair, Bruce Thompson. Why would we care if you were with her? Allo cares, LOL. Johnny Angel says, sounds like Fester was living there. Interesting comments here. So basically, everybody on here needs a target for something and they're not happy. The only way to get anybody to listen to them, maybe they're attention starved. I don't know what it is really. And I don't really care at this point. So this is a long-form answer to Alla DaVinta. It's a long-form answer to Alla DaVinta. Okay? I never said I was afraid of you going after me or talking about me. I simply said, maybe it's time that you must meet and lassen. Maybe it's time because there are bigger fish out there that really deserve your attention. And you know what? I'm all with you on that. No, I'm not going to join RRR. I'm with you when you go after the right people out there. As I said, I'm a guppy in a big sea. And you got some marlin and sharks out there that do need your disgusting negative attention. People like Ricky, of course, should be on the top of your list by far. There are people that have threatened you, Aloe. I've never really threatened you that I could ever recall on here. I've given you a lot of opposition, but I've never threatened you at all. No physical threats. How could I? I don't know who the fuck. Well, I do know who you are, but you won't admit to it. But I've never done anything other than say, hey, catch me if you can. Do your best, but it ain't going to happen. You have to commit crimes on here to have anything legal done against you. And even Aloe doesn't want to give me, and his constituents don't want to give me enough credit about Barry. When it's due, why can't Aloe just come out there and say, Frank, I got to commend you. You did what every one of us was trying to do for a long time. You know, we're going to give you kudos for that, Frank. Why can't Aloe say that? They don't want, because they want to take the credit. If you listen to Popeye, Frank never got him an give him that cell. The immigration got him. And now I'm not going to go through that story again. You know how Barry got in that immigration cell. You know exactly the story, how it transpired. I've talked about it at least 15 times on here. Okay, I don't need an award. I don't need a medal, accolades. I don't need any of that. You know, maybe a little appreciation about the efforts I made to go after the big fish. And I went after the big fish. And even though Barry was a little guppy who tried to be a shark, okay, I devoured him whole. I put him in that fucking cell. But do I get a thank you from Aloe or any of his constituents? No, because they want to take the credit. Oh, you have nothing to do with that. I had everything to do with that. I had everything to do with that. I'm 170,000 fucking pesos poor as a result of everything I needed to do. Having a lawyer, 170 fucking thousand pesos. What have you contributed to anything, Aloe? You don't take money out of your pocket. Neither do your disciples, except when they get bamboozled on a phony campaign to help a poor girl in a wheelchair who was a viper. She was a viper. Look at Don C. Lost 2,000 American dollars on his efforts to put Nika against me, to try to, what's the word? Well, forgot the word. To try to get her to go against me. Yeah, he lost 2,000 American dollars on that one. As the judge says, well, if this Frank guy has a problem or vice versa with this woman. He goes, how old is she? At the time she was in her late 30s, almost 40. Basically, the judge said she's a grown-ass woman. She can handle her own affairs. What are you getting involved with this for? That's what the judge said. And he retained a lawyer for $2,000. The judge, not the judge, I keep on calling him the judge, the lawyer, couldn't do anything because there was no proof that any foul play happened with Nika. None. They were simply trying to coerce Nika to go against me. That's the whole story. Now you're hearing it from my mouth. Forget the hearsay. You're hearing it all from my mouth. There you go. They have to find somebody to go after. That's what they do. It makes you wonder, what are they doing in their personal life? They're supposed to be active people. Maybe some of them say they have money. But they spend more time on here trying to listen to the dirt and create more soil, more guana, bat shit, I call it. Guana, bat shit. They try to create more bat shit on here that you could walk in, use the bat shit for something else, grow something. Grow a set of fucking balls. Grow a plant, grow a vegetable. Mix in that fucking guana with some soil and create something instead of trying to destroy something. It's all bat guana is all this ever is. I'm not anybody's enemy out here, really. I'm just a small guppy, small channel, grassroots channel that's trying to make a show. Money has never been a denominator on my show at all. It never was historically. But they needed somebody to attack. And boy, did they attack me. That's when I had put boots on the ground when it came to Barry, when I said I had enough. Him threatening me and calling me a child predator. That's when I said I had enough. And there's certain people here that need to be crucified, like Roberto, who had called my woman a call girl. And when he said that he would harm her if he seen her on the street, that's the kind of people Aloe likes to hang around. That's the Vintage Army, these type of people. And yet, they talk about everybody else, but look at the crimes that they commit. Look at the crimes they're committing. Yeah, they should be on a fucking stand in court somewhere. In fact, they should be fucking put on a fucking wall and lined up and shot because they're disgusting, despicable people. Then you got the big enabler. Oh yeah, I'm willing to put some money into if you want to try to do a case against me for what? For what? Commit no fucking crimes on here. Yeah, that's coming from the big enabler, Mr. Shame himself, Mr. Ten-Face, who puts this woman on there. That's why I hit a nerve is what happened with him. Did you or did you not display your woman? I'm answering you, Big E. Did you? Come on, what's your excuse? Did you or did you not display your woman on camera in a bar, in a public place, grabbing your wife's tits? Did you or did you not allow your woman to go out there on a dance floor and practically make love to another woman that you claim was your ex-girlfriend? Did you or did you not do that? Of course, they took the video down. We all witnessed it. It was shameful. That's all I'm saying, Big E. It was shameful. Is that what you do with women all the time? I don't know. The sanction of marriage. I mean, that you're supposed to be this religious guy who've even given us scriptures. But I hit a nerve with you, didn't I, Big E? Didn't I, Eric? Didn't I? Yeah. But it's the truth, is it not? Is it not? Did you or did you not do that? So shut up. Don't make judgment on me, Big E. When shit, man, you can't afford to speak. When you use your fucking wallet as an extension of your fucking dick, you're not a real fucking man. Oh, you're a big guy in stature. You try to make your wallet as big as your stature. You're big in girth, but you're not a nice guy. You're not a righteous person, Biggie. You're not a righteous person. And I know something you don't think I know that has to do with Nika. I'm not going to incriminate myself legally on here by saying that either. I'll just shut up on that one. You're lucky. You're lucky. Let's consider yourself lucky. Okay, that's my show. That was a tell-all show for once and for all to straighten things out. They're not intimidated by you, Aloe, or your constituents at all. I was never begging you to lay off me. I was just basically saying that it's a waste of your time. That in some reference you've made on that point too, that you can't get Frank on YouTube. Let's try to do something dirty when there's bigger fish to fry. That's all I'm saying. And there's bigger fish to fry. 7.5 years of losing against me, trying to find fault with me, and you just couldn't find it. It's time to hang up your fucking cloak and move on and go after. All I'm saying, you can now leave the powwow. All I'm saying is that there are deserving people out there that I would even join you in helping to see that these people are brought to justice. That's all I'm saying. No, I don't like you. And normally I would not help you. But I think you're in the wrong direction. I think you're putting too much of your efforts on the guppies when you should be going after the sharks. That's all I'm saying. I think everybody out there would agree with me. That's all I have to say. Do a rebuttal to this, I don't really give a shit. But you're doing everything wrong. And so far, all these years, I don't think you've accomplished anything with anybody on here. Now that I think about it, just ran your mouth a lot and had your disciples all get down on their knees and suck your virtual dick. That's about it. There you go. Great story, today. Those are the facts, folks. That's the facts. And I still say that's the lowest thing anybody can do is to try to label somebody as a child molester or a child predator. Even you, Aloe, know in your heart I was never capable of doing anything like that. But you had to build up on that to create drama. People should be dead when they call somebody a sexual predator. That's like an invitation, a warrant for death. There's nobody, no matter how much you may hate somebody, should ever call an innocent man a child molester when they're not. Even creating an artificial intelligence video using the voice of myself, words I have never spoken, ever. That was low. Okay, I'm leaving the power. I'm leaving the sweat tank. I'm gonna go dry off. Got all the toxins out of my system. Maybe Aloe did too. Wake up, Aloe, and go after the proper people. Don't waste your breath, waste your time. If you really think certain YouTubers deserve to be recognized by example, people like the immigration or whatever, then work on it. Fuck the threats, just work on it. And we know who these people should be. That's my point, Davinta. Nothing more or less than that. That's my point. Thank you for listening.